I'm Pranav Yadav. I'm the CEO of NeuroInsight in the US. I also lead NeuroInsight's strategic effort in emerging markets such as Mexico, Brazil, India, and Turkey. I'm not a neuroscientist by profession, but I have a science background. I studied 3 majors, namely math, physics, and economics. I then ended up working in Goldman Sachs in structured equity derivatives. I then worked in an innovation strategy consulting firm, looking at people's behaviors and understanding why people make decisions the way they do. And then I was hired as the CEO of NeuroInsight in the US. So I bring in expertise from the areas of finance, areas of strategic marketing into NeuroInsight, where we can combine scientific research with its application into the marketing world. NeuroInsight is one of the largest neuromarketing companies out in the world. We have offices in Australia, in the UK, the US, and Germany. NeuroInsight uses a patented technology called steady-state topography, or SST, to measure people's brain's activity as they're reacting to any kind of stimulus on any kind of platform. What makes NeuroInsight's technology special is that it is the only neuromarketing technique in the world that is validated both scientifically and commercially. Now, what does that mean? By scientific validation, we mean that we have peer-reviewed and published articles in the International Journal of Advertising that show that our metric of long-term memory encoding, is predictive of change in human behavior and change in consumers' purchase behaviors. By commercial validation, we mean that our measures of memory encoding, long-term memory encoding, is predictive of how people are going to react to a particular brand out in the market and how it impacts the sales numbers. Now, that's a lot of credibility that comes with both these things. When we come into a study, we bring all the years of experience and validation that we have established over the past 10 to 15 years to our clients, such as Azteca, who can then take all of this credibility to their clients. So NeuroInsight's client base is primarily divided into 2 kinds of clients. One are the brands, where most of the work that we do is around figuring out whether their marketing campaigns are healthy or not, whether they're going to impact or whether there's going to be return on the dollar that they spend or not. We do this by testing storyboards, animatics, or even finished ads, and look at whether these ads or these campaigns are going to perform well in the market or not. Not only is our technology predictive, but it's also diagnostic. So if we realize that an ad is not doing very well, we use the insights from the data that we see to help our clients create a better ad. On the other side, 50% of our work is with TV networks. Now, NeuroInsight is probably the most experienced neuromarketing company in the world that works with TV networks. We have a large global client base of TV networks, and what we do for them is everything from casting to content development to looking at how their programs interact with the ads, which is a huge topic in the industry because of all the things in the world that can affect the effectiveness of an ad. It is the context that matters the most. This is something that Nielsen has published and other people are actively talking about as well. So now that we realize how important context is, placing your ads in the right context becomes most important. This is what we help TV networks with as well. Here, in the case of Azteca, we decided to look at how integrations within programming are perceived by clients versus the normal TVCs that they might watch. One of the most common sayings within marketing is that 80% of my marketing goes to waste. I just don't know which 80% it is. For years, brands have invested so much money in advertising on TV, but rarely do they know which part of the advertising is working. Now, with neuromarketing, especially with our technology like SST, we can figure out precisely what is working and what is not. The key metric we use to measure these things is long-term memory encoding, specifically at the point of key messages and branding. The reason why we use that metric is because that is the only metric in the world of neuromarketing, and that to our metric of long-term memory encoding, that correlates and is predictive of change in human behavior and the sales number that we'll see in the market. For Azteca, what we saw was that integrations on average were 20% more effective than the TVCs. So one of the issues that was raised was that integrations are priced at twice the amount as TVCs are priced. Yet we only see 20% increase in the effectiveness of the integrations compared to the TVCs. Now, there's a disconnect between that 20% and the 200%. But what we often forget is that the basis is extremely different. Now, typically a brand spends about $100,000 to buy a TVC spot. And for the integration in a similar program, they would have to pay $200,000. But for a brand that spends millions of dollars on these things and has millions of dollars in revenue, a 20% change is a big number. So the basis is extremely different. So even though the increase in the effectiveness of the integrations is only 20%, Azteca should be charging 5 times more for the integrations. So amongst all the metrics that we have, the one that is most important for communication evaluation is long-term memory encoding. But we have other metrics as well that allow us to give a more qualitative assessment of the effectiveness of the communication. So while on one hand, the memory encoding metric is like black or white, it tells you whether the communication is going to be more effective or not. The other metrics such as emotional intensity, approach withdrawal, and engagement allow us to color the entire scheme of memory encoding and figure out why it is that the brain thought that things were important enough to go into memory. In the case of Azteca integrations versus TVCs, we saw that among all metrics, the integrations have outperformed the TVCs. They outperformed the TVCs when it came to emotional intensity, and they outperformed the integrations when it came to engagement. One of the things that integrations are able to do slightly better than the TVCs is that they're able to directly use the advantage that the content creates within the content and capitalize on that to get more effective communication. While the TVCs come after that content is over, integrations are placed within that content, thereby using the advantage that content has created. So if the content is more engaging, the integrations could definitely be more effective as well.